What if everything you learned about ancient Egypt was missing the most important chapter? What if the greatest dynasty that ever ruled the most famous civilization on earth was deliberately hidden from you? What if the pharaohs who saved Egypt from collapse, who rebuilt its temples, who restored its glory were black Africans from deep in the heart of the African continent? Because that is exactly what happened, and the people who did it had a name, and they were called the Kushites, and their kingdom, the Kingdom of Kush, is one of the greatest civilizations in the entire history of the world. So stay with me, because what you are about to hear is going to permanently change the way you see Africa, the way you see Egypt, and the way you see yourself. Welcome to Osset Clip, and today I am taking you on a journey 4,500 years back in time to a kingdom so ancient, so powerful, and so extraordinary that historians are still uncovering its secrets today. And this is the story of the Kingdom of Kush, the Black Pharaohs of Egypt, and it begins not in Egypt but further south, deep in the Nile Valley in what is now the country of Sudan. Close your eyes for a moment and imagine you are standing on the banks of the Nile River, and the year is 2500 BC, and the sun is blazing, and the river is wide and brown and moving slowly through a landscape of golden desert and green riverbank, and all around you a civilization is rising, not in Egypt, not in Greece, not in Rome, but here in Africa, in what the ancient world called Nubia and what history would eventually call Kush. The Kingdom of Kush rose around 2500 BC, which means it is 4,500 years old, and let that number sit with you for a moment, because 4,500 years is almost incomprehensible. And while most of Europe was still scattered tribes living in forests with no writing and no organized government, the Kushites were already building cities, and they were already writing in their own script, and they were already trading across thousands of miles of desert and river, and they were already developing a culture of extraordinary depth and beauty and sophistication, and their capital city was called Kerma, and Kerma was not a village, and it was not a small settlement, but a real planned city with monumental architecture, organized streets, and a population that rivaled anything existing in the ancient world at that time. Now here is what most people do not know about the relationship between Kush and Egypt, because for centuries these two civilizations existed side by side as rivals, and sometimes they traded peacefully and sometimes they went to war, and Egypt invaded Kush multiple times, and Egyptian rulers tried to colonize Kushite territory, and they tried to absorb Kushite people into their own culture, and they built temples and fortresses along the Nile to control the Kushites. But here is what Egypt never fully understood about the people they were trying to dominate, and it is this: that you could conquer the Kushites temporarily, but you could never break them. And every single time Egypt retreated, and every single time Egyptian power weakened, the Kushites were still there, still building, still growing, still waiting, patient, determined, unbreakable. And then something happened that nobody in the ancient world saw coming, because around 750 BC a Kushite king looked north toward Egypt, and what he saw was not a powerful empire but weakness, and Egypt was divided, and its rulers were fighting each other for power, and its military was fractured and ineffective, and its temples were falling into decay, and its people were suffering. And this Kushite king decided that he had waited long enough, and his name was Piye, and I want you to remember that name, because Piye is one of the most remarkable military commanders in the history of the ancient world. Piye assembled his army on the banks of the Nile, and he marched north, and what followed was one of the most extraordinary military campaigns in the history of the ancient world, and city after city fell before the Kushite army, and Egyptian rulers who had looked down on the Kushites for generations suddenly found themselves on their knees, and the ancient texts describe what happened when the Egyptian rulers finally came before Piye, and those descriptions are breathtaking because they prostrated themselves before him, and they bowed at the feet of a black African king from the south, a king who had marched out of what they called the land of the bow and taken the most powerful throne on earth. Piye became Pharaoh of Egypt, and not a local ruler and not a regional king, but the Pharaoh, the ruler of the most powerful and most famous civilization the ancient world had ever produced. And he was Kushite, and he was African, and he was black, and this was not a temporary occupation, and this was not a raid, because Piye established a dynasty that would rule Egypt for nearly 100 years, and historians call it the 25th dynasty. But I want you to understand what that really means, because when we say the 25th dynasty, we are talking about one of the most remarkable periods in all of Egyptian history. For nearly 100 years, from approximately 747 BC to 656 BC, the most powerful position in the ancient world was held by black African kings from what is now Sudan. And think about that, because the pharaohs of Egypt, the rulers who built temples and commissioned monuments and whose faces were carved into stone that still stands today, were black Africans from Kush, from Sudan, from the heart of the African continent. And they did not rule as outsiders who looked down on Egyptian culture, but they did the Exact opposite, because they revered Egyptian culture and they studied it and they mastered it and they restored temples that had been neglected for generations and they reinvigorated religious traditions that had been allowed to decay and they commissioned artwork and architecture of extraordinary beauty, and under the Kushite pharaohs Egypt experienced what historians describe as a cultural renaissance, a rebirth, a return to greatness. And the greatest of all these Kushite pharaohs was a man named Taharqa, and Taharqa ruled Egypt for 26 years, and his reign was one of the most remarkable in Egyptian history, and he built on a scale that impressed even the Egyptians who had been building for thousands of years, and he erected massive columns at the Temple of Karnak that still stand today, and he built temples across both Egypt and Kush, and he extended Egyptian and Kushite power across the entire region, and he was so powerful and so famous that he is mentioned in the Bible in the Book of Kings, where Taharqa is described as a powerful ruler who came to the aid of Jerusalem when it was threatened by the Assyrian Empire. And let me say that again so it sinks in, that a black African king from Sudan is mentioned in the Bible as one of the most powerful rulers of the ancient world, a king whose influence reached from the heart of Africa all the way to the cities of the Middle East, a king whose name was known across the entire ancient world. When archaeologists excavated the monuments of Taharqa, they found artwork depicting him exactly as he was, and what they found was a dark-skinned African man with the distinctive features of a Kushite, wearing the double crown of Egypt, looking out across the centuries at a world that would later try to forget he ever existed. Because here is something you need to understand about why you have never heard this story before, and it is that the deliberate erasure of black African achievement from the history of ancient Egypt is one of the most significant acts of historical denial in the modern world, and for over a century scholars argued that the Kushite pharaohs were not truly African and that they were not truly black, and that somehow the images carved into stone by the Kushites themselves could not be trusted. But the stones do not lie, and the DNA evidence does not lie, and the archaeological record does not lie. In Taharqa was African, and Piye was African, and the 25th dynasty was African. And it is time the world acknowledged that truth. Now the Kushite pharaohs were eventually pushed out of Egypt by the Assyrian Empire, which invaded with an army equipped with iron weapons that the Kushites could not match, and King Taharqa fought back with everything he had, but the Assyrian military machine was too powerful, and the Kushites retreated south back to Kush, back to Sudan, back to the Nile. And when they got home they did something extraordinary that most people have never been told about, and something that will make your jaw drop. Because they kept building pyramids, and not copies of Egyptian pyramids but their own pyramids, steeper in angle, more numerous, more densely packed, with their own distinctive architectural style that was uniquely Kushite and uniquely African. And in the desert of what is now central Sudan there is a place called Meroe, and at Meroe you can see something that will stop you completely if you ever visit, because there are over 200 pyramids stretching across the desert landscape in long rows pointing toward the sky, ancient and magnificent and largely unknown to the rest of the world. Let that number sink in, because over 200 pyramids in Sudan in Africa, and most people have never heard of them, and most people think Egypt has more pyramids than anywhere else on earth, but they are wrong, because Sudan has more pyramids than Egypt, and the Kushites built more pyramids than the Egyptians, and they built them over a period of over 1,000 years, from around 700 BC to 350 AD, and that is 1,000 years of continuous pyramid building in Africa by black Africans without any outside help or influence, entirely on their own terms. But the pyramids are not even the most extraordinary part of this story, because the Kingdom of Kush had female rulers and powerful female rulers, and the Kushites called their warrior queens Kandakes, and some of these Kandakes were among the most formidable rulers the ancient world ever produced, and one of the most famous was a Kandake named Amon-Arenas. And when the Roman Empire, at the height of its power under the Emperor Augustus, decided to invade Kushite territory around 25 BC, Amon-Arenas led the Kushite army against them personally, and she was described by ancient sources as blind in one eye, but that did not slow her down, because she led raids deep into Roman territory, and she captured Roman soldiers, and she even captured a bronze head of the Emperor Augustus and buried it beneath the steps of a temple, so that every person who entered would walk over the face of the Roman emperor. And she negotiated a peace treaty with Rome from a position of strength, and Rome agreed to withdraw from Kushite territory, and Rome agreed that Kush would pay no tribute, and Amon-Arenas won, and a one-eyed African queen defeated the Roman Empire, and your school never mentioned her name. The Kingdom of Kush also had its own writing system called Meroitic script, which was developed around 300 BC and used for over 600 years, and thousands of inscriptions in Meroitic script have been found across Sudan and the surrounding region. And here is the extraordinary thing about Meroitic script, that scholars can read it phonetically, meaning they know what sounds the letters represent, but they cannot fully Translate its meaning because no bilingual text has ever been found for Meroitic and. This means that the full story of the Kushites, their literature, their records, their own account of their history is still locked inside an ancient script that we cannot yet fully read, and there are stories carved into stone in Sudan right now that nobody on earth can understand, waiting for someone to find the key. The Kingdom of Kush finally fell around 350 AD when it was conquered by the rising Kingdom of Aksum from what is now Ethiopia, but the legacy of Kush cannot be measured by its fall, and it must be measured by what it built across 2,500 years of continuous civilization, because this was a kingdom that rose before the Great Pyramids of Giza were completed, and a people who conquered and ruled the most famous empire in the ancient world, and a dynasty of black African pharaohs who restored Egyptian culture and left monuments that still stand today, and over 200 pyramids in the Sudanese desert, and a writing system still waiting to be decoded, and warrior queens who defeated the Roman Empire, and a civilization that lasted longer than the Roman Empire, and longer than any European nation-state, and longer than almost any political entity in human history. When people tell you that Africa has no history, show them the Kingdom of Kush, and when people tell you that black Africans never built great civilizations, show them the pyramids of Meroe, and when people tell you that Africa never produced great leaders, show them Piye, and show them Taharqa, and show them Amun-Arenas, and when people tell you that Egypt was not an African story, show them the 25th dynasty, and show them the face of Taharqa carved in stone, and show them the truth, because the truth is this: that the Black Pharaohs of Egypt were real, and their monuments are real, and their achievements are real, and their legacy is real, and it is time, long past time, that the world knew their story. That was the Kingdom of Kush, one of the oldest, most powerful, and most extraordinary civilizations Africa and the world has ever produced. And if this video taught you something that your school never did, then subscribe to Clip and share this with someone who needs to hear it, because we have 3,000 tribes still to cover, and every single story deserves to be told. And drop a comment below and tell me, did you know that black Africans conquered and ruled ancient Egypt, and did you know that Sudan has more pyramids than Egypt? And I will see you in the next video, and this is Clip, and we are just getting started.